It's only been a month since its Chinese debut, and the OnePlus 11 has already made its way to the global market. They have been settling for the past few years now, but OnePlus is finally going back to its roots and finally living up to its never settle slogan again. There is no Pro variant this time round, but don't be fooled. The OnePlus 11 is a fully fledged flagship, or should I say, flagship killer. The first noticeable flagship killer aspect is its price. The OnePlus 11 starts at just $699 US, which is quite a hefty price drop over its predecessor. In order to achieve this low price point, you would think OnePlus have had to cut quite a few corners. Well, yes and no. The selfie camera has been slightly downgraded and there's no wireless charging this time around, but honestly, that's about it. The back cameras have improved drastically, and to make up for the lack of wireless charging, they have boosted wired charging all the way up to 100 watts. There are also other improvements across the board, such as a new design and IP certification, an upgraded cooling system, latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipsets, faster LPDDR5X RAM, next-gen UFS 4.0 storage, and more. So the latest OnePlus flagship is already shaping up to be a fantastic device at an incredible price. But does it have what it takes to regain its flagship killer status? Let's find out in my full review of the OnePlus 11. The OnePlus 11 comes in two different color variants. You can pick it up in the color that I have, which is known as Titan Black, with a nice matte sandstone finish, or you can pick it up in an emerald green, which is more glossy. Both of them are chromed out with stainless steel camera decor around the camera module, which looks fantastic. And inside this beast sits a large 5000 mAh dual cell battery, increased 100 watt wired charging, but unfortunately has no wireless charging, of course, to keep the price down. The latest Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipset from Qualcomm, paired up with an Adreno 740 integrated GPU, LPDDR5X RAM, UFS 4.0 storage, a new Cryo Velocity vapor chamber cooling system, dual SIM 5G, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.3, and NFC. And this time around, we finally have an IP certification. The backplate is protected by Gorilla Glass 5, the display is protected by Gorilla Glass Victus, and the frames are aluminum. It is just 8.53 millimeters thick and weighs 205 grams. And inside that redesigned circular camera module sits a 48 megapixel Sony IMX581 ultra-wide camera sensor, 50 megapixel Sony IMX890 main camera, and 32 megapixel Sony IMX709 portrait telephoto sensor. And to round the camera module off sits a multi-spectral sensor, which is hidden within the flash. Not to mention the Hasselblad partnership still remains. Let's kickstart things off this time with the macro mode, that utilizing the ultra-wide sensor, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Using the 48 megapixel native ultra wide looks great. You can bin it down 4:1, binning to 12 megapixels, which looks fantastic too. 50 megapixel native main looks great, and binning that down 4:1 to get 12.5 looks even better. We do have an 8 megapixel telephoto, of course, binning down from 32 megapixels to 8 megapixels. There's no way of getting a native 32 megapixel shot with it, and it can go all the way up to 20 times digital zoom, and honestly, all of them look pretty fantastic. Now, we can use the portrait telephoto sensor on me, and we do have Hasselblad filters such as Serenity over here, and you can take a 1x portrait using the main as well, and we can use that same Hasselblad filter. And if we take a normal photo of me, we have three master mode Hasselblad filters. The first one once again being Serenity, the second one being Radiance, and the third one being Emerald. And I really like their different takes, especially Radiance. It really makes you pop. Now, we do have X-Pan mode over here, so you can get it in color or in monochrome, and they both look fantastic. And we do have 1080p 30 FPS portrait video using the main cam. It looks okay, not the best edge detection. And we do have 1080p 240 FPS slow motion video, or you can bump that up to 480 FPS, but it drops the resolution down to 720p. There are some stability modes here, starting with ultra steady. It utilizes the main cam and shoots at 1080p 60 FPS, and it is honestly quite stable even when running around in a bit of a circle. We do have ultra steady pro mode, which uses the ultra wide camera, a bit of a crop in factor, but it still sits at 1080p 60 FPS and is even more stable. Now, recording 1080p 60 FPS ultra wide, it looks fantastic, as good as it will get for 1080p. And we do have a 4K option, but for some weird reason, we're stuck to 4K 30 FPS with the ultra wide, despite the Oppo Find N2 being able to go all the way up to 60 FPS at 4K using the ultra wide sensor, and it's the same sensor. Now, we can zoom in using 4K 30 FPS from the ultra wide to the main, but it doesn't kick into the telephoto, so zooms all the way from 1x to 10x are all digital. We do have 4K 60 FPS main video over here. Very nice and stable, color rich and packed with detail. It looks honestly as good gets for Android smartphones. We have 8K 24 FPS main video as well. The Oppo didn't have 8K, so it's good to see 8K over here for the OnePlus device with the same camera setup, and it looks nice and crispy. Even at night, it does a good job, I would like to say, but I mean, it's 8K video and it's pretty dark here. As soon as you see some light shoot in, you can see the details truly come to light. And we do have 4K 60 FPS main at night, but of course, when you're recording 60 FPS video at night, it's not exactly the sweet spot. The sweet spot is 30 FPS, so we're gonna drop it down to 4K 30 FPS at night. As you can see, everything is a lot more bright. It doesn't really lose too much detail. We're just changing the frame rates over here. It's a little bit more choppy, but it's a hell of a lot brighter. Now, you can go even brighter than that using 4K 24 FPS main plus AI highlight video. Now, you can't select 24 FPS, but it reverts to 24 FPS when you have it set to 30 FPS when you have AI highlight video on, and it does make a huge difference, which is fantastic. Of course, we can also use the ultra wide camera to record at night, though capped at 4K 30 FPS, and even at 30 FPS does not do a good job at night. Taking photos at night with the ultra wide don't look the best with night mode off. Night mode on looks fantastic. Same thing with the main. Night mode off over here, and then night mode on looks even better. Now, just to let you guys know, when we use the telephoto with night mode off, it uses the telephoto, but when we turn night mode on, it uses the main and uses digital zoom. Same for 5 times digital using the telephoto, and then it shoots to digital using the main. Same with 10 times using telephoto here, and then it switches back to the main. But on 20 times, it uses the telephoto sensor where the night mode is on or off, and it doesn't really make the biggest difference. Now, taking a night shot of me here with night off and night mode on, you can see the difference straight away. Not to mention, when we use portrait mode, edge detection is still perfect, even at 2x optical portrait using the telephoto sensor, but my face is a bit blurry, and I did try retake this shot multiple times, just couldn't quite get it right at night. The 3 camera sensors within this circular camera module at the back of the OnePlus 11 not only look fantastic, but they do one incredible job in all lighting situations. It takes detailed shots filled with megapixels, of course, because of the high res sensors that we have in here, and it really does know what it's doing in terms of low light photography, and even taking shots in the day when binned down does a great job. I don't really have much to complain about here. Of course, it's not a 1-inch camera sensor, but it still does an incredible job, and mixed up with the software and of course the hardware, that being the new Snapdragon chipset, delivers the best photos and videos I've ever seen from a OnePlus device. On the right side of the device, we have a power button, and above that we have the alert slider, which was missing on the 10T, but we did see it in the 10 Pro, so it's good to see it return over here. And on the left side of the device, we have a volume rocker. At the bottom, we have a dual SIM 5G tray, and get this, it can run 2 5G SIMs at the exact same time, but unfortunately there is no expandable storage. However, what there is a water resistant seal thanks to that IP certification. Alongside that, we have a USB 2.0 Type-C port, which has been downgraded, and we do have dual reality speakers, one at the bottom and one in the earpiece, though there is a speaker hole on top, and this is tuned by Dolby Atmos. At the top of the screen, in the same place as its predecessor, sits a 25mm selfie camera, that being a Sony IMX471, which is slightly downgraded from the OnePlus 10 Pro and essentially the exact same selfie camera that we've seen ever since the OnePlus 7 hit shelves. But it still takes fantastic shots in daylight, not to mention we have the same Hasselblad filters, that being Serenity as well as Radiance, which really make me pop. And then we have Emerald as well for that nice dark gloomy feel. We can also take portraits using the selfie camera with almost perfect edge detection, and we can use the Serenity filter in portrait mode, taking a normal selfie and then once again portrait. I can't emphasize how good this camera is even years down the line. What's up guys, this is TechNick recording a 1080p 30fps selfie portrait video on the brand new OnePlus 11. And here is regular selfie video on the brand new OnePlus 11. Unfortunately, it is still capped at 1080p resolution and 30 frames per second when recording using the selfie cam, and there's no way of changing that. Nevertheless, let me know your thoughts on the video quality as well as the audio quality. So 1080p 30fps selfie video is a bit of a bummer. I would have appreciated even 60fps at 1080p. Most flagships are sitting at 4K, but this is quite a bit cheaper, and selfie portrait video doesn't look the best, especially when shooting at night. Though taking selfie photos at night, you can use night mode off and flash off. Night mode on makes a bit of a difference in terms of detail, not so much brightness. Use the flash for brightness and it gives you almost a perfect shot. Now we can use portrait mode, no night mode option here, but we can enable the flash and it makes me pop even more. So when I first heard that the OnePlus 11 was going to be using an older generation selfie camera, I'm not going to lie, I was a bit disappointed. But after my experience with it, I was very pleased with the results. It takes fantastic photos in day and night situations, and videos come out more than decently during the day. They're not the best at night, and it is slightly disappointing that there's a cap of 1080p and 30 FPS when most flagships are doing 4K and even 60 FPS selfie video. Finally powering on the device, getting to that wonderful OnePlus symbol and making our way to the always on display, which is always on and sits at 1 Hz. We do have an under display fingerprint sensor. It is optical, largely similar to last time out. It's nice and snappy and very accurate most of the time, and we do have 2D face unlock. It's not 3D face unlock, so not very secure, but once again it is nice and snappy, just like OnePlus always want their phones to be super fast. Now moving on to brighter things, that being the display, which is a 6.7 inch LTPO 3.0 super fluid E4 AMOLED display. Fortunately not a newer E6. It is a 20.1:9 dual curved dot display. It has 1.07 billion colors because it is 10 bits. It also supports HDR10, HDR10 Plus, Dolby Vision and Widevine L1. It sits at the same 1300 nits of peak brightness as we saw in its predecessor, and we have the same WQHD Plus panel with 525 pixels per inch. Not to mention we also have the same 1 to 120 Hz LTPO tech, but this time it's LTPO 3.0, and it's nice and super fluid as OnePlus likes to state. Not to mention we also have up to 1000 Hz touch sampling rates, which not many phones even come close to. And when it comes to software, of course we're skinned with the latest OxygenOS 13 based on Android 13. And this time around, OnePlus have promised 4 years of major Android updates and an extra 5th year of security updates. And it also has a standard of 48 months of fluency, meaning that your phone shouldn't slow down at all and should remain greatly optimized for the next 4 years. And just like with ColorOS software, we can now create large folders where when you have it set to a large folder, you can tap directly on the app icon and go straight into the app, which is something that many Androids are doing these days, and I'm seriously pleased about it. But when you want to scroll or swipe to the next page, sometimes the folders get in the way and prevent you from doing that, which is a bit of a bummer. Now we can create cards on our home screen using widgets, and we can also go into something called a shelf and add cards there too, which is pretty cool. Not sure how often I would use it, but it's a nice little implementation. And we also have split screen, of course, where we can open up 2 different apps at the same time, and we can pop a third app and pin it to the side, have it as a floating window once our split screen windows are open, and we can essentially run 3 apps at one time on the screen, which you can see on the screen. Close it all up and getting to the next thing, which is the alert slider, which has made a return, which is great. Of course, we can switch from ring to vibrate to silent, and it works and feels just as solid as previous OnePlus flagships. We have a nice, neat app drawer as well as a decent control center at the top, and we do have loads of personalization options where you can tweak wallpapers, always on displays, fonts, icons, colors, everything to your liking, just like we've seen in ColorOS, which is awesome. And we do have smart rapid charging to fill up your phone in just 25 minutes, as well as battery health engine to extend your battery's lifespan. And OnePlus claims that they are now using the largest vibration motor in a smartphone, and of course that's paired alongside Haptics. Of course this can be used with supported games, but when just typing on the fly, makes for some seriously satisfying touches on your keypad, putting the OnePlus 11 up there with the best haptics around. And this time we have built-in spatial audio for the new OnePlus Buds Pro 2. Not to mention we do have those new dual reality speakers paired up with Dolby Atmos, but how do they sound when compared to some of the best flagships around?
Target's in sight. Right for the lead. Yeah. Wind blade.
When it comes to gaming, the OnePlus 11 is not shy of features. We have the HyperBoost gaming engine for floating windows, as well as custom GPU settings, which you can tweak to your liking, a new Pro Gamer mode to boost your performance, as well as a system status overlay so that you can see FPS on the fly, and a new championship mode for that stable refresh rate to keep things nice and sturdy. Kickstarting things off here with Genshin Impact, set to the highest possible graphics and max FPS. The max FPS is unfortunately capped at 60 FPS FPS on Genshin Impact. So no matter what phone you use, it's always going to be capped at 60 FPS. The good thing is that the OnePlus 11 absolutely smashes this game at a rock solid stable 60 frames per second with a min of 56 and a max of 61 FPS, putting it on par with other Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 devices out there. Now when it comes to Call of Duty Mobile, sitting at Ultra FPS, which reverts the graphics to low, the Ultra FPS cap is 120 and we're reaching 90, which is what most Android phones are doing these days, but it's sitting at a pretty solid 90 FPS most of the time, which is great. Not to mention we can perform Real Racing 3 pretty well, but unfortunately it is getting capped at 60 FPS. Some phones can reach 120, well they should be able to since this game has an unlimited FPS cap, but many new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 powered devices are capping it at 60 FPS as well, not to mention its predecessor also capped it at 60 FPS. Now getting to RAM, we are kitted with 16 gigs of LPDDR5X RAM, and the cherry on top is that we can now add an additional 12 gigs of RAM thanks to RAM expansion, bringing total RAM up to an insane 28 gigs. And of course, we also have that 4nm run Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 octa-core CPU, up there with all other Android flagships of 2023. And pairing that up with its dedicated high performance mode, yielded a score on AnTuTu of 1,241,764 points, which sounds fantastic on its own, but it's slightly lower than other Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 powered smartphones I've tested this year. When it comes to Geekbench, we got a solid 1486 single core score and 4942 multi-core score. And lastly, we have 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme, which renders at 4K, and we got a score of 3,699 points with an average FPS of 22.2. So I've got to say, there's really not much of a difference between this and any other Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 powered smartphone when it comes to graphical performance. So the OnePlus 11 is a seriously solid performer in terms of benchmarks and gaming, thanks to the new Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 chipsets, LPDDR5X RAM, UFS 4.0 storage, larger cooling system, and upgraded HyperBoost gaming engine. It has a fantastic OxygenOS software skin that brings all the latest ColorOS features to the table, a stellar 10-bit LTPO 3.0 fluid AMOLED display, and while it may be a tad outdated, still packs in a QHD resolution and a 1:120Hz refresh rate. It may have a downgraded selfie camera to keep the price in check, but it still produces great results, and its rear Hasselblad camera sensors finally perform at a flagship level, producing the best photos and videos I have ever seen from a OnePlus device. Despite its lack of wireless charging, the OnePlus 11 truly checks all the right flagship boxes, including faster than fast wired charging, solid Gorilla Glass protection, an IP certification, and even an alert slider at one insanely great price. OnePlus are finally going back to their roots with this flagship killer, and it's good to see them finally living up to their never settle slogan again. Let me know your thoughts on the OnePlus 11 in the comment section down below. This is TechNick, and I'll catch you in the next one.